Killzone Shadowfall is one of the first 8th generation games to hit the PlayStation 4. With that in mind, it is generally used more than anything else as a benchmark for the console's hardware. While its story is not as solid as I would have expected, nor have I felt, it was still pretty fun to follow, even though it was like the same old military shooter set in a sci-fi setting. The game's storyline expands across 10 chapters. You are given mostly a trail along, told to kill a group of enemies, and then, well, that's it, you just move along. Coming into the game, innovation was not its strongest suit. However, was it still fun? Fuck yeah. The events of Shadowfall take that of 30 years after those of Killzone 3. It follows a set of new characters, putting the player in the role of Lucas, a Shadow Marshal for the majority of the game. Now, while playing as this character, I didn't feel like he had much to him. And that was just it, he didn't. He was pretty bland as a character, and he did not really appeal too much to me. Some of his gadgets, on the other hand, were pretty badass. We had a charged up laser sniper rifle, which was just, I was just giddy whenever I used the damn thing, because you saw enemies going flying everywhere, like, whee! And then you basically have it compact into a assault rifle, even though it kind of felt like an SMG whenever I used it, because it kind of fired as fast as one, but anyway. You also, along with his charactered role, he also has a sidekick, which is nicknamed an Owl. Now, owls, of course, are given to those said Shadow Marshals to pretty much, do some grappling or help defend, or in this case, assault or stun enemies. It's a very useful and I think a really cool idea mixed into the game. It wasn't anything I haven't seen already, though, but it was still a cool thing to have this character or this little gadget along with me, because there was some hairy moments, because I was playing it on the hardest difficulty possible, at least included with the retail game. And I felt like it was a really, really cool idea. That for those who play single player will have that assistance if they really need it. And if a hairy situation comes involved, you could pretty much use the owl to get yourself out of it. So, with the storyline, it felt like something that it could have been a lot better than it was, but it was satisfactory enough where it got me through the game. Now, there's another character called Echo. Now, Echo is quite an interesting and more in-depth character, I felt, than the actual main protagonist, which was Lucas. So, Lucas was just so damn bland that I couldn't quite relate to him as much. On the other hand, you had Echo, who was a very high-spoken woman, who she wanted to see her people persevere. She wanted to see her people survive and live. She wasn't all about war. She's pretty much like a hippie in this game, where she wasn't wanting to be told what to do, blah, blah, blah. And she told Lucas, hey, Lucas, are you sick and tired of being told what to do? Let's make sure our continents see eye to eye and, don't start war again. So, that's the nutshell of what the game's really about. Is you follow these two characters as they try to fix this wrongdoing and prevent a big weapon from pretty much destroying the world. And it's one of those kind of games. While the game has the greatest visuals I've probably seen in a long time, that's just it. While it has pretty scenery, it kind of distracted me slightly from what the big picture was. The game was nothing more than a Halo watered down, where the perspective of the game is almost the same, where there was levels that were pretty wide open, you can explore them a little bit, and there was a lot of strategy behind using those wide areas to your advantage. So you can get from point A to point B and backtrack, and so it allowed you to explore a little bit too, so you could get to certain places in certain ways. I mean, it wasn't quite in depth as Dishonored, but it still had that slightly open range to it. There was some linear levels, which were kind of crappy, but at the same time they weren't horrible. Now this game does have its fair share of glitches too. As you can see right here, you can kind of see the whole glitching element there, which was quite hilarious to me anyway. I mean, there was some harmless glitches in this game that did not ruin the aspect for me at all. It was just sort of like, oh, that's glitching, oh well, and I kind of walked on because I was used to it. I mean, for a game that's this early for the console, You expect a little bit more better quality for a AAA launch title, but hey, what the fuck ever, right? It's not going to kill me. It's not ruining my gameplay experience. I could just easily walk past this and keep on going. So, there you have it. So the gameplay overall is very passable. The AI, on the other hand, could have been a lot better. I felt like they were trying their best, I guess, with trying to put all these enemies on the screen at once, so therefore a lot of the AI got cut back a little bit to accommodate for the fact of all these extra enemies up your ass the whole entire time. But, again, I wanted a little bit more of a challenge from the AI, something a little bit more smarter than what I was getting. Or a lot more smart, should I say. So, the progression, at least with what you can use for weapons, was kind of limited. While I'm not expecting a classic inventory system where I can keep like a whole array of weapons, I was expecting to at least be able to swap out the gun I had when you, of course, get the game off the bat, which is a sniper rifle / assault rifle, which is this gun where you cock it a little bit and it turns into a sniper rifle. You cock it again, it turns into an assault rifle / SMG, it seemed like. Because the gun handled more like an SMG than it was an assault rifle. Because the damage output didn't add up to how fast it fired. So, you pick up guns off the ground, as you typically would, to swap out for the secondary weapon you'd use, like either be assault rifle, SMG, a pistol, a sniper rifle, a shotgun, whatever. Now, the selection of guns in the game are decent. There's a few good ones on there, and at the same time, some of the other guns just don't feel like anything useful. So they're just there for filler, practically. So, each gun has a certain situation implied to it. So, a shotgun is close quarters, obviously, so I was able to find shotguns laying about corpses of enemies, or just happen to lay about in a weapon rack. And it was pretty much strategy past that point, where, hey, I'm going to pick up this shotgun and clear out this little locker room here, because there's a bunch of enemies hiding in here. So, again, it was cleverly placed where these items were. So, it kind of gave you a hint what was coming up ahead, which, while this was somewhat clever, it was also kind of like, I want to be surprised here. I want to get my ass kicked a little bit. So I can learn, okay, this is a group of enemies over here, so the next time I respawn and replay the scenario again, I should use the shotgun instead. But there wasn't too many of those situations where I felt surprised, I just knew what was coming ahead of time, which was a little bit underwhelming in that aspect. Now, the voice acting, again, it held up pretty well. Why? Because some of the conversations the Helghast had when they were talking to each other were pretty hysterical. So, all in all, Killzone Shadowfall is a pretty good game. It falls short from anything truly original, but it's still a pretty fun game to play. For under $20, I would definitely say pick up this game. It's a great launch title, it just falls short in certain aspects. But hey, what game doesn't nowadays? The online aspect, which I did not cover in this game review at all, is good. It isn't great, but it's actually good. So, if you're into multiplayer after you're done playing a single-player campaign, it's definitely something to invest into, because it has a lot of progression, similar to games such as Call of Duty and all that. But I'll leave that for you if you decide you wish to pick up this game. So, overall, I give this game some good marks, so it's passable and very enjoyable. Take it easy, touch my nipples, see you later.